Hello, peace be on all. Assalamu alaikum. You're listening to Moel. So, in today's video, I would like to basically discuss worldviews again. Okay, but this time I'll focus more on a wide range. Like a few worldviews such as Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and also philosophical naturalism, which is by extension atheism, pretty much. So I want to tackle the basics, because a lot of people, especially the neo-atheists who are not philosophically savvy, they have a hard time looking for a worldview, or basically looking for a evidence or a proof for God's existence. But like I said in my first video, I don't go that route. I like to tackle things based on a more foundational level, worldviews, which is basically how you view this reality, which worldview is the most coherent, which way of life, matter of fact, is the most coherent way of life that is in line with our reliable, rational faculties, okay? And that's obviously, I would say, Islam, From my lens, it's Islam without a doubt. So one way of investigating, okay, to make things easy, because atheists tend to not know how to investigate these matters. So one way of investigating is to look at the title of the way of life, the worldview. For example, Islam. How come Islam is not named after Muhammad, peace be upon him? Islam is named after, is titled differently. It means submission. Submission to what? To God, nothing else. La ilaha illallah. There is no deity worthy of worshipping than Allah. Okay? And obviously from an Islamic lens, even atheists, they worship. If it's not Allah, if it's not God or gods, they have deified a lot of things, such as the ego, the social norms, the pop culture, the social trends, and so on and so forth, okay? So from an Islamic lens, all of these things that the atheists hold on to or follow are pretty much deities, okay? Now, when we look into Islam, it means submission. The religion is not named after Muhammad. It's not Muhammadism. It's Islam, submission. And by the way, in the Bible, if you read the Bible, in the book of James, for example, it says submit to God and resist the devil, and you'll be basically free. So that's submission. In case someone says, how come Islam is never mentioned in the old books, in the old scriptures? It is mentioned, but it's mentioned in English. It says submit. Okay, so that's what Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last messenger, came with. He came with the truth of what Moses and Abraham and David and Solomon and even Jesus himself preached. And that's submission, pretty much, okay? Anyone else who tells you otherwise is basically delving into an innovation. In the last video, if you recall, I said that everything else leads to nihilism. So Hinduism, if it's not monotheistic, it leads to nihilism. That's what I said. So Hinduism is polytheistic. So it leads to nihilism because reincarnation is just like Buddhism, and the atheists have taken the banner of Buddhism in this day and age. So pretty much, Buddhism is also about reincarnation. And when I was talking to this individual one time who was following theosophy, okay, which is coined by some Russian lady, okay, it's basically Western esotericism, which is some type of esoteric way of living. It's pretty much, it adopts a lot of things like mysticism, asceticism, even magic, okay, which we as Muslims, we frown upon it. Any sort of magic, whether it's black magic, dark magic, just tricks with the hands or whatnot, all these type of things are pretty much polytheistics. They lead to shirk, associating partners with Allah, okay? And this is why even atheists are polytheists from an Islamic lens. So when we look into why these things lead to nihilism, reincarnation, in my humble opinion, when I was talking to the individual who adheres to this type of philosophies, he said that it's all about experience. So there is no difference between him and the atheist, because the atheist also, an existentialist, for example, they exist to experience, nothing else. It's all about experience. So if it's all about experience, and then all of a sudden you become a cockroach, for example, when you come back to life, or you become a horse, or you become a man again, you know, especially a white man, because if I'm not mistaken, under Hinduism, the lighter skin you are, it means is better. You know, it's kind of, if I'm not mistaken, okay, this is what I've heard. If you become dark skinned, then you didn't live a really good life. But if you become light skinned, then you've lived a good life in the past, and now you basically became among the elites. You know what I'm saying? This is what they believe in, if I'm not mistaken, reincarnation. And obviously, if you become a lion or a zebra or a donkey, I mean, how would you even know that you lived a previous life? So that's my problem with it. That's why it's nihilistic. I mean, even as a man, even today, because they believe in an eternal universe, which is cyclical. Okay, it's a cyclical universe. Me as a human being, I don't recall living a past life. You know what I'm saying? And if I did, it was probably a bad life. You know what I mean? But anyways, the bottom line is this. It doesn't make sense, okay? It's nihilistic. It's fundamentally nihilistic. It leads to nihilism. So reincarnation leads to nihilism. Atheism without ultimate accountability. Any worldview without ultimate accountability leads to nihilism, okay? This is my stance, because there is no objective nor intrinsic meaning or purpose to life, okay? Only subjective. And what is experience at the end of the day? I mean, do cockroaches have metacognition? If someone becomes a cockroach, would he as a cockroach recall how he lived back then? No. So it's nihilism. Even if he becomes a white man or a black man or whatever, or a brown man, would he recall how he lived back then? No. Just like today, I do not recall how I lived, who I was back in my previous life, if I even had one. I don't recall, but the Quran, okay, and this is going to be a separate video where I talk about divine covenant. You'll see the coherence of Islam, okay? You'll understand it basically. So Islam leads to ultimate accountability, even Christianity, but not Judaism in my humble opinion, because if you're a Gentile, you live your life basically as a Gentile, and you follow the laws of Noah, if I'm not mistaken, and the Jews have to follow the laws of Moses. The Orthodox Jews basically, they have their own, if they do not follow it, they get punished, I think 7 times more than a Gentile. But there is no hell. They do not believe in hell, only heaven. Hell is replaced by a temporal realm of cleansing. So all of us will be cleansed. Then we go to heaven. To me, this sounds nihilistic, okay? Because, I mean, you might as well live the way you want to live as a Gentile, because I'm not a Jew, obviously. I'm not a descendant of Harun, Aaron, as what they claim. So, if I'm not a descendant of Harun, peace be upon him, then what's the point? Then how do they know they are descendants of Harun anyway? And we'll get to that, you know, because this is an innovation. Judaism is not the religion of Moses. Matter of fact, it's not the religion of Abraham. Peace be upon them. Okay, so Christianity also, look at the title. If you want to investigate, like I said in the beginning, look at the title and see what the title suggests. The title says Christianity. Did Moses preach that? Did David preach it? Did David and Solomon say, listen, we are Christians. We're going to follow this futuristic man who will come eventually and crucify himself, you know, who is the Son of God. Did they believe? No, they believed in one God, all of them. So the title, just look in the title, okay? Look at the book, it says the Bible. Where is the gospel? Where is the Injil of Isa, the Injil of Jesus? And what does Injil mean? If I'm not mistaken, it means gospel, good news. Okay, look at the Torah. What does Torah mean? Because every book has its title, but the theology means it's Islam, submission. But the title, like Zabur Dawood, the Psalms of David, for example, which are chanted, if I'm not mistaken, chanted like the Quran. All these books are probably chanted, all of them. If I'm not mistaken, they were chanted like the Quran, so you can memorize them. What else? David, the scrolls of David. I mean, the scrolls of Abraham, Suhufi Ibrahim. So all these books are gone. We do not have the authentic revelation, okay? All we have left that is authentic is the Quran, and it's in its original language, okay? Arabic. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. We have descended it Arabic Quran, so you can be able to fathom, understand the language, you know, because it was descended on Arabs. If it was descended on Hebrews, it would say we have descended it in Hebrew or Aramaic, so you can be able to comprehend it, and so on and so forth, depending on the prophet. So what does Judaism mean, really? Judaism is derived from Judah. Christianity is derived from Christ. But Islam is not derived from Muhammad, okay? So who is Judah? Judah is the great-grandson of Abraham. So how can Abraham be a Jew if his great-grandson didn't exist in his time? And he received revelation before he even had Ishmael, okay? Ismail. So, and Ishaq, Isaac, okay? So he's not a Jew, and in the Quran says ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. Abraham was neither a Jew nor a Christian, but he was upright monotheist, and he was not upon the polytheist, the people who associate partners with Allah, okay? So he was a Muslim, Hanif. Hanifa means he leans towards monotheism. He believes in one God, okay? So that's what Abraham was, and he was a Muslim, upright. He submitted, because it says in the Quran, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. When his Lord told him, submit, he said, I submit to the Lord of all the worlds, okay? So Abraham was a Muslim without a doubt. And he was Babylonian, he wasn't Arab, and he wasn't a Jew, he wasn't Hebrew. It says in the Bible he was a Hebrew because he traversed, he crossed the, I think it's called Euphrates River, okay? And that river is in Iraq, Babylon, okay? So basically Abraham is the main prophet, you know. He's the forefather of all of us. So if you really want to tackle things, look at the title. Judah is the great-grandson of Abraham, and he was not a prophet. Judah was not and according to the Bible, by the way, it was Judah who sold Joseph, okay? Judah sold Joseph to the Midianites. So yeah, so I don't have much time anyways, but also it says وَمَنْ يَرْغَبُ عَنْ مِلَّةِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِلَّا مَنْ سَفِهَ نَفْسَهُ وَلَقَدْ اصْطَفَيْنَاهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَإِنَّهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ لَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. Whoever leans away from the faith of Abraham, he has debased himself in folly, and we have chosen him in this world, and in the hereafter he is certainly among the righteous. So this goes for the atheist. Anyone who follows another worldview has debased himself in folly. Follow the faith of Abraham, who's upright and a Muslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.